There it is. So we're looking at what? Giant frog people now? Is that what we have? We have this enormous creature over here. We're watching him, keeping a close eye on him. But I don't think there's any doubt as to what's going on. We've got these enormous creatures. And we have some weird, obviously there's some kind of a structure going on here. And then we've got diffusion, and this guy is blending in. And this is an interesting looking hominoid. We can see the creature has brow and very low skull. Again, we can see the creature has brow and very low skull. The brow is consistent all the way across, and would signify what I think we've seen in the relict hominoid catalog. But these creatures, left alone, have attained enormous sizes, and we can plainly see the size of this creature is absolutely immense. And I'm trying to fix that right now, actually. I'm having a little trouble here. That's interesting. Oh, that's a still frame. Okay, so this next frame here, we look at the size of the creature, and we get a better understanding of what we're dealing with here. This thing's immense, and he's not alone. There are immense creatures with him, but this one, at this particular moment, I'm actually, I believe, distracted. Or no, here I am shooting from cover, and I'm blocking the light a little bit so I can get a little bit better shot without the sun in the camera lens, and it pays off big time. As we can see here, I'll crop in again, and we'll take a look. But these are immense creatures that we're dealing with, and how is it that this is going unnoticed, and how is it that people say that can't be real? We get that can't be real according to the philosophies of knowledge that we've been handed down. But for the 4 to 5 million native peoples that lived here on this continent, these creatures were real, and they described that. And so you wonder, does that have anything to do with why their entire culture, their history, their people, is this why it was all squashed in the name of hostile takeover of the exact lands that Native Americans essentially belonged to, as opposed to it belonging to them? Is this why? Is this why all over the continent, Aboriginal peoples or native peoples, indigenous modern human populations, refuse ownership? Because they understand they don't own it, and there's absolutely no way they're going to take it, what's left? That's a pretty good bet, folks. And I just look at footage like this as confirmation of our data models. And you can see this brow again. We've got that small head. It's consistent throughout the entire footage. So we're looking at this flat-headed type of creature that has this brow. And aside from that, how big is it again? Well, let's just take another look. We'll pull back a little bit more this time, and you can see for yourself. This is what's out there behind that light that human beings have so much trouble seeing. There's a world of giant creatures, and it's becoming more and more obvious that creatures this size have been here for a very long time, and larger apparently. And so how is it that our authorities are trying to tell us that they don't know? Are you serious? No. I believe that land policies, from the very designation our government uses, control the policy on the land, and they differ as to what can be actually accomplished on different designations for the land. So we look at what this land has been set up for, and it was set up for hiking, and apparently it's occupied. So I'm going to walk away now, and as I'm walking away, there are creatures coming forward. And I think what it is they're embedded in the hillside, meaning they've dug in little spots that they're laying in. And the bushes, when they lay back, it just looks like a hillside. And as I'm walking away, this big creature leans forward, leans up, like sits up on the incline, sticks his head through the bushes, and looks at me. As we advance frames, it gets clearer, and we can get a good idea of what the creature actually looks like. Even with the bush, you can see it's in there watching me. I think this is probably one of the female creatures. We notice two very distinct types of bone structure, and you can tell there's a more rugged, robust, masculine appearing bone structure, and then there are creatures like this that have seemingly softer features. You can see that this creature, compared to some of the other subjects that we're going to take a look at in the rest of this film, has much softer features, including the brow and the robust bone structures around the eye and cheek areas. When compared to the next subjects that we're going to look at, this thing is obviously a different type. Here you can just follow my cursor as I outline the Bigfoot. Nose. Right there you can see the creature's eyes really good. Those are his nostrils. He's got like a little hair in his face, but you can see he's there and he's watching us. There's another one right there, and it's turned a little bit slightly. I want to direct your attention to the creature's eye socket, right? So again, we're watching this enormous creature, and if you're trying to look at it vertically, the creature is leaning to its left, right? So we have the cheekbone, and the other cheekbone is right in this area. You can see this angle on this line right here. That's the edge of the cheekbone. Under it, but you can see that's the same exact angle on the other side right here, and then the creature's eye is right here. But I want to direct your attention to the nature of this creature's eye and how it can move, because this is critical data on how these creatures observe their environment. And if we look at it, what we can see is he's plainly moving it from side to front, side to front. Again, we're right here, and you can see the eye from side to front, side to front. This is more of a reptilian trait. Again, I'm going to move that again, but we've got the creature's nose here. So we're looking at the brow area here, but this creature has independent brow, and it's actually appears to be looking off in this direction, but if you watch, now it's looking forward, and we can see that it's moved. Side, front, side, front. This creature can look to the side. Lizards can do that, and it's looking right at me right now. There's that ball, and that's that eye that bounces a lot more light back. That's what's happening. But again, we're seeing that there's an independent musculature there under that eye, that brow. We can see that musculature, and it's to the side, and it looks back to the front, and we can plainly see that musculature moving under that eye. This is an incredible species right here, is what we're looking at, and this, in my mind, is probably some of the stuff that A.H. Miller was looking at when he classified these creatures in the Telidae classification, because that's a reptilian classification, and his official designation was Cebidae Telidae, or Cebidae Telidae, or Cebidae Telidae, whichever way you prefer it. But you can see plainly that we're dealing with something that clearly has just in the movement, in the musculature around the eye, some interesting traits is the way we can put it. I mean, that's incredible. And looking at the rest of the footage as we go through this, we get some incredible shots, and we're dealing with some pretty good distances in some of these shots, but this one was actually a lot closer. He's in this area right here, and as we zoom in, you can see there's a little bit of a color difference between this white, which is the colorless, the achromatic, colorless, and then the sky. And there appears to be something back in this area, but this right here ended up being him, and we can see him up here, and we'll watch right now as he comes down. You can see it's moving, and that eye is constantly evaluating everything that's going on around it. And you can see this enormous creature right there, and we've got the big head with the apex, a couple of palm fronds in front of it. But you can see that ball inside that musculature again, and that's a great frame right there, man. A couple of great frames. You can see the under eye moving again, that musculature moving the ball. That's a trip, man. To see that in what? Look at this musculature on top of the eye here. I mean, it's nuts. That head, we got this color difference here because it's picking up colors. The shade of this tree could be what's causing this difference in color variation here. You got the nose right here, you can see it plainly, but he's observing our group as we attempt to locate them, and we're actually looking across in this direction. And I know I shot clips, but I also on one of these expeditions had camera trouble. And I'm wondering if this is, where I had camera trouble. I haven't gone through yet to find it, but you can see this creature's brow, and when the two independents are screeched up with like that anger kind of a brow, you can see it. It's kind of startling, man. It's enormous, but we did it, man. We got them. The achromatic giants of South Florida. You're staring at one of them hiding in some saw palmettos from about 85, 90 yards away. You've got the achromatic man up in the bushes. So I have a theory on all this, right? And my theory surrounds the creatures being fed. It really is simple. There's absolutely no way in hell you're going to contain these creatures if they're out looking for food. So I believe we research in the restaurant. That's why we're seeing these gatherings that refuse to leave areas. They're key points of interest, obviously. There's not enough wild hog in these areas. You don't see anything. You see nothing. Someone is feeding these enormous creatures. It's the only logical explanation. Now, I get asked all the time about that little technology that's flying around out there and what it really is and what it really does. And we've reviewed patents for a few different things from friends of ours that clearly show that these things are patented. This type of device can be patented or can be manufactured off of these patents. So when we look at it, what really is going on? And the evidence for what is needed, which is this thing real, is right there on the film. And you just have to look and listen closely. The reason you see it is it's at 1%. You're looking at one frame, then another frame, and another frame. Well, if it's shot at 60 frames per second, that's 60 frames where we're seeing it moving. But if we play it in real speed, it's only 1 second, and you don't see it at all. It's like, gone. Well, when we watch the device in slow motion, what we see is that this little thing it's committing to revolutions, and it continues doing it. Do you know why that is? Because if it stops and hovers, you can see it. So it spins really fast. And what you see is basically nothing. It's very small, practically invisible at speed. The one time that it stops that movement is when it jumps in front of my camera. And that's as I'm getting ready to film the Bigfoot. It's almost as if this thing has some kind of a signal that it detects something from the camera and it jumps in front of it. Is it the IR light? It's possible. Is it the tally lamp? It's possible. I think that there are many things that need to be answered about these devices, but they are indeed real, and the consequences are real time and recordable, and we've recorded it and shown you that the cameras are malfunctioning and had many eyewitnesses, right? So that was my thing, was like, I'm not going to be the only one saying this, right? Because I've been saying it doesn't happen. I said that forever. We don't get that shit. And then suddenly we get all this attention, and now we're all jammed up. So what do we have going on? Well, it's technology, and it's being used, and someone's controlling it, and that's where we're at right now. It's the same exact invisible assailant that is letting cows loose to feed these creatures.